The Teen Titans are one of the most iconic superhero teams in comic book history. From the classic 1980s, New Teen Titans, run by Marv Wolfman and George Perez, to the beloved 2003 animated series, the team has always been portrayed as a group of young heroes finding their place in the world while forming unbreakable bonds. At its core, the Titans are more than just a team. They are a family that stands together, learns from each other, and grows into some of DC's greatest heroes. However, Titans the live-action series completely failed to capture this dynamic, leaving us with a group of characters who rarely felt like a real team, let alone a family. Right from the start, Titans took an unnecessarily dark and gritty approach to the story, focusing heavily on violence, angst, and self-loathing, instead of the themes of friendship and growth that define the Titans in the comics. While a darker tone isn't inherently bad, the show forgot to balance the darkness with heart, which is something both the comics and animated series did so well. Instead of feeling like a group of young heroes learning to work together, the Titans in the show often felt like a group of broken individuals who barely got along, constantly argued, and repeatedly made terrible decisions. One of the biggest failures of Titans was its refusal to establish the Titans as a proper team from the beginning. In the comics, the Titans' formation is a defining moment. They come together because they want to, not by accident. The show, however, took a confusing, disjointed approach to team building. In Season 1, there is barely a team at all, with Dick Grayson reluctantly mentoring Rachel, Gar, and Corey while still struggling with his own identity crisis. There's no real sense of camaraderie or purpose, and most of the season is spent with characters separated from each other rather than working as a team. Season 1 of Titans was a slow, directionless, and joyless introduction to the iconic team, failing to capture what makes the Titans compelling in the first place. Instead of bringing the characters together early on and developing their dynamics, the show dragged out their individual introductions, keeping them separated for most of the season. The pacing was painfully slow, with long stretches of filler episodes that contributed nothing to the overarching plot. Rachel's storyline, which was meant to drive the team's formation, was drawn out and repetitive, while other major characters like Gar and Corey were either underutilized or given confusing, underdeveloped arcs. The show prioritized gritty, forced edginess over genuine storytelling, making the characters unlikable and hard to root for. For a superhero show, Titans lacked exciting action and spectacle, with most fight scenes being poorly choreographed, dimly lit, and overly violent for no reason. Instead of embracing the fun and adventurous spirit of the Teen Titans, the show tried too hard to be dark and mature, which resulted in a dull, overly serious tone that made the series feel lifeless. Characters barely used their powers. Team chemistry was non-existent, and the season ended on a frustrating cliffhanger that failed to provide any real payoff. Compared to the comics and animated adaptations, Titans Season 1 was a wasted opportunity that felt more like a melodramatic, aimless drama than a thrilling superhero team-up. Season 2 teased a Titans 1.0 backstory, revealing that there was a previous version of the team consisting of Dick, Donna, Troy, Hawk, Dove, and Aqualad. But this was a massive wasted opportunity. Instead of showing us how this original team functioned and grew together, the show revealed that their time as Titans ended in tragedy with the death of Aqualad and the fallout from Jericho's situation. The fact that this previous team collapsed in failure before we even saw them properly working together only further pushed the idea that the Titans aren't really a team, but just a group of traumatized individuals with bad luck. Season 2 of Titans was an unfocused, bloated mess that failed to build on the already weak foundation of Season 1. While it introduced fan-favorite characters like Deathstroke, Superboy, and Jericho, their storylines were rushed, underdeveloped, and ultimately wasted, with Deathstroke being defeated way too easily and Jericho's arc feeling incomplete. The season spent too much time on flashbacks and unnecessary side plots, making the pacing uneven and frustrating. The Titans still didn't feel like a real team, constantly making reckless, irrational decisions that led to avoidable disasters. Perhaps one of the most pointless and irritating characters was Rose Wilson, who was introduced with an air of mystery but ultimately contributed almost nothing to the plot beyond a forced and unbelievable romance with Jason Todd. Her backstory and motivations were poorly explored, making her entire presence feel like a wasted opportunity. Instead of giving us a well-developed Titans team, Season 2 was another chaotic collection of underwhelming arcs, bad character decisions, and a lackluster finale that sidelined its main villain in favor of an anticlimactic Donna Troy death scene. Donna Troy's death in Titans Season 2 was one of the most pointless, comically incorrect, and frustratingly avoidable moments in the entire series. After surviving battles against superpowered enemies like Deathstroke and Connor Kent, she is randomly killed by being electrocuted while trying to stop a falling transmission tower, a scene so anticlimactic and absurd that it felt like an afterthought rather than a meaningful sacrifice. What makes this even worse is that Donna is an Amazon, meaning she should have enhanced durability, strength, and resistance to electricity, making her death not only unnecessary, but also completely illogical given her abilities. Instead of giving her a heroic send-off, Titans opted for a cheap, lazy, and nonsensical way to add forced tragedy to the finale, making it feel like the writers had no idea what to do with her character. There was no emotional weight or real consequences, as she was resurrected almost immediately in Season 3, proving that her death had no lasting impact on the story. It was a perfect example of how Titans continuously misunderstood its characters and wasted their potential, turning what could have been a powerful moment into an unintentionally laughable one. By Season 3, the show finally tried to establish the Titans as a legitimate team, but it still failed in execution. The characters constantly made reckless decisions, split up when they needed each other the most, and never truly functioned as an organized unit. The storyline surrounding Jason Todd's transformation into Red Hood should have been an emotional, team-driven conflict, but instead, it was handled as a series of bad choices by Dick and unearned betrayals by Jason, making the Titans look incompetent rather than compelling. Season 3 of Titans was an incoherent, rushed, and frustratingly shallow attempt at adapting one of the most iconic DC storylines, Jason Todd's transformation into Red Hood, but completely botched the execution. Instead of giving Jason a gradual, emotionally impactful descent into darkness, the show skipped over key character development, turning his transformation into a rushed, barely explained shift that happened in a matter of episodes. His resurrection and alliance with Scarecrow felt lazy and contrived, stripping away the complexity of his Red Hood persona and making him feel like a puppet rather than a compelling anti-hero. Meanwhile, the Titans themselves remained disjointed and reactive, constantly making reckless decisions that led to predictable betrayals, forced drama, and underwhelming action sequences. The show's version of Gotham was lifeless and uninspired, and Scarecrow, who should have been a terrifying, cerebral villain, was reduced to an annoying, unthreatening antagonist. Instead of delivering an emotionally gripping story, Season 3 felt rushed, underdeveloped, and devoid of any real stakes, proving once again that Titans had no idea how to handle its source material. Season 4 was perhaps the biggest letdown, as the Titans still didn't feel like a well-bonded team, even after 4 seasons. Instead of seeing them fully embrace their roles as a superhero family, they still felt fragmented, with many members acting on their own instead of working as a cohesive group. The show teased strong relationships like the bond between Dick and Corey, or Gar's growing confidence, but none of it ever felt fully realized, leaving the Titans as a team that never truly came together in the way they should have. It was extremely boring and pointless. In contrast, the comic book Teen Titans excel at team building and character dynamics. Whether it's the 1980s New Teen Titans lineup, including Dick, Starfire, Raven, Beast Boy, Cyborg, Donna Troy, and Wally West, or the early 2000s team including Robin Tim Drake, Superboy, Wonder Girl, Kid Flash, and Raven, the comics always emphasize the team's deep connections, their ability to rely on each other, and their growth as heroes. Even when conflicts arise, the Titans in the comics work through their issues together and remain a family at the end of the day. The Titans show ultimately failed to deliver on the core essence of the Teen Titans. By prioritizing individual trauma over team unity, the characters spent too much time separated, arguing or making reckless choices, rather than actually learning how to be heroes together. Instead of seeing the Titans evolve into a strong, well-functioning team that could rival the Justice League, we got a fragmented group that never truly felt like a real team until the very end, and even then, it was rushed and underdeveloped. Had the show followed the blueprint of the comics, it could have given us a team that grew together, overcame their struggles, and became the legendary Titans they were meant to be. Instead, Titans wasted its potential, delivering a version of the team that lacked heart, structure, and the emotional depth that made the Teen Titans one of the greatest superhero teams in DC history. And that's a wrap on why Titans completely fumbled its characters and failed to do justice to the legendary Teen Titans. At its core, this show had so much potential. With an amazing roster of characters and decades of incredible source material to pull from, but instead, it gave us a messy, inconsistent, and often frustrating adaptation that never fully captured what made the Titans special. But now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about Titans? Did you enjoy it despite its flaws? Or were you as disappointed as I was? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked this breakdown, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay awesome!